Hey guys, my name is Matt Johnson, and today I want to talk with you about music for your wedding films. Because recently a ton of you have been messaging me, sliding into my DMs, sending me emails, comments, all about music in wedding films. You want to know how I find music for my wedding films, how I license it, how I interact with the couple and talk to them about the music that I'm going to use in their wedding film. And we're going to talk about a ton of that today. That said, this video is part one of a two-part video series all about the music that I use in my wedding films, because I realized as I was sitting down and collecting my thoughts for this video, crap, this is a lot. And so I do not want to completely overwhelm you guys by making like some hour-long epic music thing. That said, this video is going to be all about how I choose the music that I'm going to use in my wedding films. So how I talk to the couple and meet with them and get to know them and find out their music tastes, and how I educate them about music licensing. The second video in this series that's coming out very soon is going to be all about my favorite music licensing sites that I use whenever I'm licensing music for my wedding films. So this is going to be everything from like the most expensive music licensing site that I use that has an amazing user experience that I absolutely love, all the way down to the absolute dirt cheapest music licensing option that I know of that I still love for licensing music and that has some incredible gems for a very low price. So anywhere you fall on the spectrum, whether you are at the level where you have been filming weddings for a very long time so you can afford to spend a lot of money on licensing music for each individual wedding film, or whether you are just starting out wedding filmmaking, you're like, I gotta film my first wedding, I wanna make sure that I do everything legally, this second video is gonna help you do that, and that's gonna be coming out very soon. Whenever it is out, I will link to it up here in the corner and down in the description for you to check out. But for now, let's jump right into the first video and talk about how I pick music. And to start, I feel like I need to address the elephant in the room that affects literally every single wedding filmmaker out there whenever you're starting out and you have no money and you're shooting weddings for free because you're trying to build up a portfolio and you're thinking to yourself, can't I just go on iTunes, spend 99 cents and download a song, put it on my video and upload it? I mean, hey, I don't have the money for it and I'm not making any money off of it, so it's not commercial, right? It should be fine. Wrong. You need to have a license for pretty much any video that you upload online ever. And even if you are just giving a video to the couple and you're not uploading it online, you're sending it to them on a DVD or on a flash drive, if you do that and they upload it, you are still on the hook because you made the video that is using the copyrighted music. I'll tell you a little story. Back in 2011, there was one of the best wedding filmmakers out there, and his name was Joe Simon. Back in 2011, he was shooting a lot of weddings, and he was one of the premier wedding filmmakers in the world. I think he was charging like $9 grand if you're getting married locally. It was insane. He filmed a wedding for someone you may have heard of, a little guy named Tony Romo. Plays head quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, or at least he did. Now he's kind of being replaced and all. And they let him upload their wedding video. This is like the ultimate promotion for a wedding filmmaker, because you film their wedding and then you never really have to do any marketing ever again. People ask you, what have you filmed? You're like, I filmed Tony Romo's wedding, and they're like, we'll hire you. The issue for Joe Simon, and this is such a warning to other filmmakers, I think, is that he used a song that he did not have the license for. He put the song Fix You by Coldplay to Tony Romo's wedding video and uploaded it. And within a day, this wedding video had millions upon millions of views, and all these people were watching it and sharing it. But the problem is that the record label for Coldplay saw his video and saw, hey, he didn't license this. So they sued him for $150,000 for that one song in that one video. Crazy. So Joe ended up settling, and part of the arrangement of his settlement is that he was not allowed to state how much he settled for, but he did say in a podcast that it was in the 5-figure range. So anywhere from $10,000 to $99,999, which any of those numbers terrify me. And I think that is a good warning to all of us, because afterwards, Joe was licensing all of his music. Afterwards, I saw that I was licensing all my music. Everybody started licensing their music after they started hearing that story. And so I think that for you, even if you think that you may be legally allowed to do something if you don't pay for it, I would double check that, and I would always recommend licensing music from a reputable licensing company where you have the rights to do it. So, lengthy story and warning to you guys, license your music. And I want to say one more thing about music licensing. And I don't want to say it from the perspective of someone that's terrified of being sued for using unlicensed music or something like that. I want to say it from the perspective of an artist. As someone that believes that wedding videographers can be artists, and the stuff that we are making is art that can be appreciated by others and by a couple for the rest of their lives. And what I want to say is that it is important for you to have the creative control over your wedding film. I've said this in previous videos. It is so important that you retain your creative vision and your creative ideas for a wedding, and that includes the music. So whenever you get a couple that asks you, can we pick out the music, or we have some favorite top 40 song that we want to use, or I even know some videographers that send the couple links to music licensing sites and say, go to town, pick out your favorite songs, and we'll put them in the video. I don't believe that that is art, in the sense that you are giving up your creative control to someone else and saying, here, you do all the hard work for me picking out the songs, and then I'll just use them. I believe that if you are wanting to create very high quality wedding videos that you can charge a premium for, that are art, that people will appreciate, then you need to have the control over the music licensing process, and you need to be choosing the songs, not the couple and not anyone else really, for that matter. This is so important to me that I tell this to the couple before they sign a contract. So whenever I talk to them first, not in the first email, but normally I'll set up a phone call afterwards and we will discuss their wedding day. I will tell them point blank, I get to choose which songs are in your video. I will take into consideration your likes and dislikes, and that's what we're gonna talk about here in just a second, but I have the creative control, I have the in-say into what goes into your wedding video, and I want you to trust me to make you an amazing film. And all my couples trust me to do that, and I've been able to make some incredible wedding films for them that I'm really proud of. So how do I do that? How do I maintain creative control while still making the couple happy? That is what we're gonna talk about now. And I'm gonna share with you something that took me literally years upon years to figure out. Tons of experience went into figuring this out, so here's a shortcut for you guys. Meet with the couple in person if you can before their wedding day. If you can't meet with them in person, meet with them on Skype, but meet with the couple. Talk to them about how they met, how they fell in love, about their likes, their dislikes, their quirks, anything that you can know to get to be best friends with the couple, ideally if you can, because this is going to make their wedding film amazing. And I'm gonna go into a lot more detail about this, I'm sure, in a future video. But for now, let's stick it just to music and let's talk about how I talk to the couple about music. The first two questions that I ask the couple are, what are your favorite songs and what are your favorite bands? And this can sometimes kind of put them on the spot, because I don't know if anybody's ever asked you, hey, name your favorite band. And you're like, and you kind of panic, and then you're like, Justin Bieber. So sometimes being put on the spot to name something very specific can be more difficult for people. So to keep the conversation going, where you're not just having awkward pauses while they're thinking for 5 minutes, I also like to ask, what is your favorite genre of music? Because genre is a little easier for people to grasp. They're usually like, well, I like country music and I like rock, but I hate rap, or something else like that. I live in Texas, so a little more skewed to country, just being honest here. But by asking the genre question, that'll help you get a broad overview, and then you can start to narrow things down from there to bands and songs. In addition to that, and maybe even more importantly than what bands you like, what songs you like, what genres you like, I ask the couple what they dislike. So what do you hate? What song could you never want to listen to ever again and be totally happy if it never came on the radio? What band is the worst on the planet? What things do you dislike? And in general, people will answer you like that. They will immediately know, like, oh, I hate Justin Bieber. And you'll be like, well, good. By then knowing what their likes and dislikes are, you can start to develop sort of a profile of their music tastes. You're kind of becoming Pandora for these people in a way. Does anybody still use Pandora? I don't know. Yeah, once I've talked to the couple and they've answered all these questions about their musical likes and dislikes, I have a pretty good idea of the direction that I want to go as far as music for their wedding film. And so I'll then talk to them at a genre height level about the songs in their wedding film. So I'll say, it sounds to me like you're maybe moving a little bit more country, if they've said some country bands and country artists that they like. Maybe a little more romantic, if the country bands have been more love ballad instead of like Florida Georgia Line country pop. If they go more country pop, then I will say, it sounds to me like you're moving a little more poppy. But I make sure that I only talk about this at a genre level. I'm never gonna be like, this is the exact band I'm gonna use for your wedding film, because I haven't even seen their wedding day yet. But as far as meeting with them, I want to reassure them and say, here's the style that we're going towards. And so they're reassured and say, okay, he gets us, he knows what we like, and he's not gonna put rap if we like country, for example. And I make sure that I reiterate at this point, even though I've already told them before they book me, I have to license music so that I don't get sued. I will even share with them the Joe Simon story if I need to, and I want them to know that I will choose something that both they will like and I won't get sued for. Both of us will win. Lastly, I'll ask the couple if there are any of my previous wedding films that they have seen and that they like. So in general, couples are finding me through YouTube or through Facebook or through Instagram or through my website, and they've at least seen one of my wedding videos. They're not just hiring me blindly like, we heard you were good, we don't know though. Well, here's thousands of dollars. No, they're not going to do that. They're going to have watched some of my wedding films. And I want to know what those wedding films are, because oftentimes they'll say, oh my gosh, we love the music in this wedding film. And I'll say, great. And so maybe I won't use the exact same songs in that video because I don't like reusing songs, but maybe I will consider other songs from the same artist or from similar artists that matches the vibe and the style and their musical tastes. And then I can make something that's new and creative for me, but that they still love. Oh, and one other thing. You notice that I said meet with the couple. And this is something that also took me years to learn, and that is make sure that you are meeting with both the bride and the groom, ideally together. Because whenever I was starting out, I would have a bride contact me, say, hey, I want you to film my wedding. So I'd be like, great. And I would never even talk to the groom. It's like the groom didn't even exist. I would go film the wedding and be like, what's up, man? Here to film you. You'd be like, cool, whatever. And there was never really any friendship or interaction there, and I never knew who the groom was. I never knew what music he liked. I never knew anything about him. So the terrifying thing that you can deal with whenever you only meet with one half of the wedding couple is that maybe you meet with the bride and she's like, oh my gosh, I love country music. This is all that I want in my wedding film. And then later on, you find out that the groom actually hates country music. And he's like, oh, my wedding video sucks. I hate country. That can happen. So to avoid that occurring, it is so important to meet with the couple, ideally together, because you talk to each of them separately and they may tell you different things, but whenever they're together, if they can kind of look at each other like, is this right? Do we like the same songs and genres, or do we hate them? Knowing that and having them play off each other, being there, able to interact with you is going to make talking about the music aspect of wedding filmmaking so much easier for you. So that said, what do you do if the bride loves country and the groom hates country? What do you do if they both love completely separate things? In general, if I'm picking up those vibes that they have different music tastes, because newsflash here, people are different, I will ask them, what genres and songs do you like that both of you like? And usually there'll be something that they can kind of agree on. And they're like, this is what we prefer, both of us. And so I will take that into consideration, maybe use songs that they both prefer a little more heavily. That said, I've had couples that literally just hate each other's music and are literally driving in the car listening to different music because they don't like it so much. And to offset that in their wedding film, I will use songs that both of them like. So I will maybe have a country song that the bride likes, then I'll have a rock song that the groom likes. That way, both of them are happy, and I don't have to deal with, oh, this is too much of what they like and not me. This is just drama that you need to be aware of and how to deal with it. It's crazy, I know. There is one final thing that I like to take into consideration whenever I'm choosing music for a wedding film, and it is not something that I can necessarily just ask the couple about and get an answer, because it's a little more ethereal than that. The final thing is that I like to take into consideration the feel of the wedding day. And that's not something that I'm gonna know until I actually go to the wedding and film it. Once I do that, then I'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, I understand kind of the feel and the vibe of this wedding better. And that's something that can definitely influence the music choices that I make in a wedding film. Now I'll give you two examples here that have roughly happened to me. I've had couples that tell me, oh my gosh, we love country music, we love two-stepping, we love George Strait. And then I get to their wedding and they're getting married in a church and their reception is downtown in a city skyscraper. No real country aspects to that wedding. I've also had couples that got married in a barn in the country, and there were many rustic country elements to their wedding. And yet they tell me, oh my gosh, we love pop music and we love electronic music. And so that can be a little bit of a dissonance there, where you're hearing one thing from the couple about their music styles, but their wedding is a completely different style. So I like to take that into consideration. So if they say they like country music, but they're getting married in the city, maybe I choose country songs that still have some guitar twang to them, but maybe the lyrics don't include things like dusty roads and big Texas sunsets or anything else that's not actually visible in their wedding film. Alternatively, if they say they like pop and electronic music and they're getting married in a barn, maybe I take into consideration some more guitar-centric pop songs that are moving things a little bit more country, and that way I find a happy medium that strikes it between their film and where they are getting married. Got it? Okay, at this point there are several things that you should know. First, and this should be very obvious, you need to be licensing music for your wedding films. I think I made that abundantly clear with my terrifying story at the start of this video. Secondly, you should be meeting with your couples, and you should be telling them that you are going to have creative control of your video. Whenever you meet with them, you're meeting with both the bride and the groom to get both of their opinions about music for their wedding films. You should know the exact questions that you need to be asking both of them so you can drill down and learn their favorite genres, their favorite bands, their favorite songs, and everything that they dislike about music. You have everything that you need to know to choose the perfect song that matches your couple, their story, and the feel of your wedding day. Now at this point is also the point where I'm going to end this video because it's getting pretty long at this point and I have a lot, I mean a ton, that I still want to talk about music licensing. So I'm going to cover that in my next video. I'm going to talk to you about my favorite music licensing sites, about sites where you can pay per song or where you can have a subscription to the site and download unlimited music from them. I'm going to talk to you about really expensive sites that have some amazing music. I'm going to talk to you about really cheap sites that still have some amazing hidden gems that are so cheap and you're like, why is this so cheap? But this is amazing, thank you. We are going to discuss all of that in my next video that's coming out very soon. And now I want to try something new. I want to ask you a favor. If this video has been helpful to you at all, if it has educated you about any aspect of wedding filmmaking, if it has taught you something new about music in your wedding films, would you consider sharing this with other filmmaker friends that you believe may benefit from it? That would be super cool and super helpful to me. So thanks so much for watching. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave one below or get in touch with me through my website, WhoisMatt.com. It is also a massive, huge help to me if you would consider liking this video and subscribing if you want to see more videos like this in the future. In addition, I've also been posting a ton of behind the scenes stuff from weddings and travel and anything else that I've been doing to my Instagram and my Facebook pages. So if you want to follow me on there, my Instagram is instagram.com/WhoisMatt, and you can follow my Facebook with the page linked down in the description of this video. Last two things, I'm still offering one-on-one filmmaker consulting. So if you want to sign up for that, we can talk about music licensing, we can talk about wedding filmmaking, how to book more couples, how to charge more, literally anything. I'm an open book if you want to sign up for that. It is whoismatt.com/consulting. I'll put a link in the description too. Very last, you can check out my wedding film production company, Filmstrong Productions, at filmstrong.com. If you want to watch some wedding films, that could be cool. Thanks and have a great day.